I'm live. There are so many lessons to be learned, but I am up for keeping on learning them, especially as here I am in Agnes Water. That's in Queensland, Australia, and see this beautiful beach behind me. I have daily walks along that beach. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for letting me know. I have given up trying for perfection, even though I know that doesn't exist, this perfection thing. I just like to be a little bit better. So that's what I'm aiming for. Episode or season 6 purely focuses on my 16-month epic trek backpacking solo through Europe, Turkey, and parts of Asia. And this episode 1 and episode 2, are focused on Croatia. For episode 2, I want to share with you exactly what happened when I did this. So from Opatia, which is where the last season episode 1 ended, I was picked up by the new hosts of my new Workaway experience, and I was driven to Josipdol. So can you see Josipdol there? Finally, I can say it properly. Now, stuff happened in Josipdol, and what I've done to share that with you is I've actually gone into my YouTube channel, which is Victoria Rose Solo Travel, and taken 11 minutes from my 35-minute episode then, so that I can share with you the nitty-gritty of what happened and the major lesson that I learnt. Now, after Josipdol, which didn't last that long, I then jumped on a train and then went all the way up to Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. So I'm now going to share with you the actual live stream that I did on site in Zagreb. Once I'd sort of got over what had happened, I'd had a shower, I'd washed my hair, and I'd settled down a bit, I decided to share with you what had happened. And the reason why I do share with you is if you are thinking of house sitting, because this applies to house sitting definitely, or if you are thinking of volunteering, whether that's in Australia or traveling around the world, when we can do that and the restrictions are lifting, so hopefully by the end of this year, who knows what exciting things will unfold. But let's have a look at what happened at my very first volunteer experience. No, so which one is it? It's that one.
I'd like to heart you all, because the world needs more heart, and it's been incredible to spend time with the Italians in that little mountain village in Tramatola, and to then go to Opatia and have a look around the Croatian landscape until the day that I accepted a Workaway experience in Josipdol. I still have a little think about how should I be saying that. Then I discovered that so there are 2 adults and 1 baby living at the host's place. The husband needs to go to America for 1 month. So there I am. I've been offered to be picked up, and I'm going to be driven up to the host's home, and then they're leaving. The 2 adults and the baby are leaving, and the wife is returning 2 nights later. So we arrived at the host's home. This is where I'm now going to share some photos with you, and I'll talk through the photos as I'm sharing them. Now, I've just learnt a new trick with Ecamm Live. I think this is quite cool. Let's see how we go. So there we are. So we're driving up now. So this was a photo taken just after the host left. I walked back up the driveway and took this first photo. to show you guys. So this is the home. The hosts live in 2 rooms on the ground floor, which it's just that concrete part that's actually which is partially below ground. My accommodation is on that first level. See those outside stairs and that door, and see all those gaping holes? That's my accommodation, but more on that very soon. So we drove up, and the yard was very messy. So I'm going, oh my gosh, okay, this isn't my idea of a couple that are starting an organic farm and who are chefs. And here's why I continued to think that. So what then happened was let's have a look. I then walked around to the entrance, which is at the back, and this is what I saw. Lucky for you, you cannot smell this. This smelt disgusting. See that garage there at the side? In that garage at the side, there are 2, they describe them as goofy, but they're certainly feisty dogs, let's put it that way, and they're locked up a lot in that garage. So this is what I first saw, and I'm going, oh my gosh, they know I'm coming, they know they're leaving, and this is the entrance, and that smell, and it smelled like that because of the rubbish that was left there. Let's now have a look at the next one. So then I walked into the kitchen, and this is what the kitchen of 2 chefs, supposedly, and I do believe they are. There are other factors here, but this is what the kitchen first looked like when I walked in, and the smell. And then we had another view to the kitchen. There were dishes there that had been there since their son's first birthday party, which was over a week ago. There was some chocolate mixture, it stank. The host's wife said, open the fridge door, which smelt. And she said, just eat anything you want. And then their friends came, they jumped in the car, and they disappeared. I was in shock. I have to tell you, I was in shock. As she left, she said to me, oh, all you'll have to do until I come back on Friday is pet care. Look after, you can't have the kitten out when the dogs are out, so you have to be careful there because the black dog will kill the kitten. I thought, charming. So the first thing I had to do, because now my children will tell you I'm not a fusspot. They'll laughingly tell you that, but I'm also not filthy. Oh, by the way, I'd better tell you what my accommodation looked like when I first walked up. This is all the junk that the hosts just pile into one part of it. See that massive window on this side? There's rubble, there's tools, it's the rough floor, and that's my bed. And I had said I would stay for 1 month if mutually agreeable. That's one thing I did right, I did do that right, to add those very important 3 words at the end. So they left, as I said, and I'm left in shock, and I'm thinking, crikey, I can't leave. I have to stay. These doggies here, 2 dogs, 1 kitten, and they have to be fed, and oh my gosh. Now, you know I have military experience. I was an Army reservist for 23 years, did my 100 days every year, can sleep out bush in a hoochie. This is very different. I knew there'd be holes in the wall on one side, but what I didn't know was that there were gaping holes in the wall on the other side as well. So the cold wind sweeping through, there was no protection offered from that. So I had to get cracking. So as soon as they left, I had to clean up the entrance. And here is the entrance. After I've done the best that I can, swept it, got rid of all the rubbish, done quite a bit of work. At least it no longer smelt, and at least I could now step into that filthy kitchen without already being sick before I actually noticed the kitchen. So here's what I did. This is just one part of the kitchen. Took a lot of work to get it to this, and a lot of stuff was thrown away. Here's just a second photo that I'm so glad that I took these photos, because it really shows the difference. So this took hours and hours of work. Also, even though I was told I could eat anything in the fridge, when I actually went to eat something from the fridge, again, as I've already mentioned, there was a smell, and I did take out the potato salad to eat, and it was only until I was about to eat the second mouthful that I noticed the mold. So I went, threw the potato salad away, had a look at the other stuff that was there, mold, 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 the whole thing. So I did get to eat some seafood chowder because it was covered. It was extra salty, but I still ate it. So let me show you now what I did with the accommodation, because I couldn't live in that accommodation the way it was. So after the first night of sleeping with nothing up against one of the holes in the wall, I got the see-through plastic and arranged a sort of a semi-window. I turned the bed around. I went and scrabbled around and found some other bits and pieces, went and bought some fresh fruit. In this accommodation, the only light I had was a very small 25-watt globe. So hopeless at night, I could not do any work at night. But the best bit is yet to come. Here's my office. And this was it. Notice the rubble. Notice this big gaping hole on this side. And so I just set my computer up there and did my best do some work there. It wasn't easy to do, but I had to survive. I could not leave until the host's wife came back on Friday night. And now prepare yourself for this. The toilet facilities are only on the ground floor, and to get to them you have to go through the host's bedroom. And even though the host told me she was an insomniac, I wasn't. Have a little 1-year-old baby. I was not comfortable. I drink so much water. Probably too much information, guys, but I do need to use the toilet once and sometimes twice in the night. And there was no way. It was so cold here that I was going to get out of bed, go down those outside stairs, and then disturb them as I go through, do my business, which they'll be able to hear, which is, I don't know, strangely a little bit awkward, and then disturb them again as they go back upstairs. Wasn't going to happen. So you know what's coming, don't you? Yes, here's my ensuite. So I went and bought myself a blue basin, which I used in the morning to wash my face, and that water I used to clean my teeth. There's my bicarbonate of soda and my electric toothbrush there, and my little made up hand stand. And then over is the white bucket, which I found and cleaned, and that's my pea pot. So that was my ensuite. So they're the conditions that I had to survive in. And even though I diminished that cold wind sweeping through, I have to tell you that it was still a difficult environment to be in. And because I finally joined the dots and I picked up the bug that the husband had, I started to not feel well. And every morning that I was there, when I woke up, my voice was huskier. I felt really bad. I felt sicker every day. So I'm alive, I'm well, and I'm still a dag. And thank you for spending time with me today. I hope that this live stream is useful to you and will encourage you to have a look at your life and say, okay, I want to live before I die.
Yes, Jen, I think you're absolutely right. That's not backpacking like I remember it. Oh dear. But what did I learn from that experience? Well, I didn't get really, really sick. My children were in connection with me via Messenger, and they were seeing how I looked, and they were saying, "Mum, get out of there, get out of there," because certainly living in that environment where you just couldn't get warm. Anyway, I survived, but what did I learn? And this is what I want to share with you. Whether it's volunteering or house sitting, you absolute must get a video chat with the prospective host. Why is that important? Because photos can be really old. Have you noticed that? I belong to a number of Facebook groups around house sitting, and a number of times people have said how they agreed just by a phone call, just by going with the photos that the host had on the website. And they rocked up, and sometimes the hosts had already left, and they rocked up to a filthy place, a place that they actually couldn't stay in until they cleaned it up, much like what I had to do. Whereas with a video, what happens is it's immediate, it's happening there and then. And once you've had a chat to them, you can pick up things by the way the tone of their voice, how they use their eyes, what they're actually doing. You can pick up so much important stuff. And if you feel that you can ask this, and if you don't ask this, then that means you're not going to go there anyway. But you say something along the lines of, "Oh wow, it sounds really good. Do you mind showing me your house? Can I see your kitchen? Where's the lounge? Oh, can I see my bedroom? Where would I be sleeping?" And it's there and then. And if they make excuses and don't want to show you, then you don't go. It's that bad, because this is also an opportunity lost as well. Although I don't regret going to Josipdol, because it did cause me to actually put in place measures, especially the video one, that prevented or deeply diminished the prospect of something like that ever happening again. And so that's why it's important for you to insist upon a video call if you're considering house sitting, or actually what's going on here, house sitting or volunteering around the world, or even here in Australia. I'll tell you one experience that I had in Australia after I came back, and before all of our world was turned upside down, or our lives was turned upside down by the pandemic, or the understanding of what the pandemic would mean to us, to the world, it would seem, most of the world in lockdown. Before that happened, I did apply for a house sit here in Australia, in New South Wales. All she had on the house sit site, I use housecarers.com, and I'm very happy with them. All she had was one photo of the front of a house, and half of the house was covered in bush. So I sent her a message and I said, "Look, I need to see more photos." People put photos of themselves. If there are pets to be looked after, which there was in her case, they put photos of their pets. They put photo of the yards. I have no clue what environment I'm coming to when I see just that one photo. It was in a lovely area though. So I thought, I wouldn't actually mind going here. So but there was a red flag. You've got to pick up these little red flags. I would just be at the top of the building. She had family living in the bottom of the building. So I did ask myself, why aren't the family living in the bottom of the building feeding the dogs? Anyway, I said, "Look, I've got to have a video call." She said, "That's not going to happen." She said, "I hardly ever use my mobile phone. I hate the mobile phone, and I would have no clue how to do a video call." I said, "It's easy, I can show you." She said, "No." I said, "Well, that's it then. It's a no from me as well." Then she comes back with a message and says, well, you probably missed a bullet here. I must confess I'm not a domestic goddess. I know, I'm not a domestic goddess. And also, what did she say about her? Oh, my dogs can be a bit savage or a bit naughty. I forget the wording that she actually used, but that the dogs were going to be trouble. Thanks, Jennifer Hines. It's absolutely a great tip. Have a video connection with the person that you're going to go to. Now, if you want to find out what actually happened, what was the red flag? Immediately I got into the car, and it wasn't the fact that the husband host was coughing his little heart out for that entire 1.5 hour trip. It wasn't that. There was something else that happened, and I went, how can this be happening? But there I was in the car. You see, these guys decided not to have a video chat. They said that won't be necessary. And it was my first volunteer experience, but boy, did I learn. And so there was one time there where I was in fear. And why? What was said and done that caused me to realize that I actually had to do a runner, and that's all in my full-length live stream. It's the link to that YouTube channel, my channel, is in the description of this live stream. So if you want to find out some of those answers, you go right ahead and do that. So I got out of there a little bit traumatized and caught a train to Zagreb, as I showed you in the very beginning. Now, I want to give you just not even a minute video of some of the delightful experiences, scenes that I had when I was in Zagreb. And if ever you're in Croatia, I absolutely recommend it. So let's have a look at the video that I've made especially for you. So there you have it. My heart key tip. My heart key tip for this episode is to be your own hero. Too often we look outside of ourselves, we look at others and we look up to what they do. Now, I'm not saying don't admire others and don't model if you see something that you think, wow, that could work for me. It's actually you that needs to look within yourself and find out what is it that you are. What are your skills? What are your qualities? And take that step. So in my Josipdol experience, I absolutely was my own hero. But here's the thing. Decide to live before you die. Oh, hello, Enza. You couldn't get to Zagreb. Well, Enza certainly does do a lot of living, and she's got, I can't quite get you, there we go. You couldn't get to Zagreb this time. Please, please, please make time for it next time. I just loved Zagreb, and I actually found an opportunity shop. They're quite hidden there. It's not the thing in Croatia from what I can gather. And I got this amazing black duffel coat and these amazing black boots for really a pittance. And as life went on, as I'm traveling, boy, did I wear out that duffel coat and those gorgeous black boots. Thank you for joining me today. I heart you. And the world needs more heart. If we haven't seen the evidence of that happening, then we'll never get that. For us to live before we die, for us to feel like we are really living, for us to know that we can have a fearless life of remarkable joy, we need to seriously look at living and communicating from our heart. Thank you so much for joining me. Worth going back for. Yes, I know, it absolutely is, Enza. Not to Josipdol, but to Zagreb. But when I do travel again, which I will be traveling again, it probably won't be until 2021 now, possibly even 2022, because house sits for next year already in anticipation are starting to fill up for me. So I might find myself in Australia. I will see you for episode 3 of season 6. And what's that going to be about? Well, it's got to be about Croatia, because I went down from Zagreb, I went down, all the way down to Split, and a little place just outside Split called Podstrana. And oh my gosh, it was incredible. If nothing else, I want to share with you the beautiful images, the beautiful places there, so that when you go to Croatia next year, hopefully, we're hoping, then you can consider going to these places as well. So thank you so much for those that joined me. I really appreciate you. And for those that are replay viewers, thank you too.